So after first correction, we probably spent close to 90 minutes together, and at the end of that 90 minutes, I took 5-10 minutes to go over a sheet with you that had a few recommendations. Oftentimes, I can appreciate that maybe people are a bit tired at the end of that long appointment, so maybe not everything is set in. I'm just going to give you a very quick reminder of some of the more important pieces of that piece of paper. Number one, you may experience some new or different sorenesses during the follow-up few days, if not the follow-up week or two as we readjust. This is likely to do with the muscle system adapting to the change. It is pretty typical and very normal for us to hear about. We don't usually have any issue with it, and we expect that it'll be short-lived. So if it flares up for a morning and then goes away, or if your typical right-sided issues are showing up on the left side, don't be too alarmed. It's probably very typical, and it's probably actually a good sign that we're moving things in the right direction. Number two has to do with head movement. The two movements that we want to be a little bit careful of are side bending, bringing the ear towards the shoulder, and backwards or looking up. These two movements in terms of movement of the neck are just the two movements that put the most strain into the upper neck. They're not a bad movement. I'm not scared to do it. I didn't just get my first correction either, so I would just be a little cautious if I was in your shoes and you're just starting out with the change process of adjusting with NUCCA, and try to give yourself a chance to stay in a straight and level position. So no holding your phone to your ear, try and avoid looking up, and then also with the chin up position, it happens often if we reach for things. So if I tried to reach out and touch the wall or that chair, I might get into an extended position of the chin, so just be careful with that. The third and final one that we're going to talk about on this little video here had to do with posture. So we talked about how when we're looking at the body, we would encourage you to think about a lifting of the ribs and a creation of a curvature in the low back. I probably did a little bit of an example with you and got you to move in and out of this position from what might be a poorly slouched position and then all the way into a really exaggerated position where you're almost looking up because you're extended beyond what you normally would. To me, this is practice, right? If you extend beyond normal, you create strength and you give the opportunity to try and hold then a position that you're strong in when you feel like you've got good position. But play around with that. See if you can feel what it feels like for that curve to be there and to disappear when you go into a slouched position. Take an inventory of where your ribs are and see if you can't feel them lifting when you try and get into a good position and extend the front side of your body. What you'll notice, and you can probably see on this camera view, is that my head and shoulder relationship changes quite dramatically when I get my rib cage lifted and create this curvature to the low back. And so we always want to try and guide the head backwards, but I'd encourage you to try and do it with the rib cage and the low back rather than just trying to pull the head back. As soon as we just try and hold the head back and we don't incorporate some movement down below, we don't quite get all the way there. So play around with both of those, the lifting of the ribs and the creation of the curve. If you have any other questions about that form, certainly bring it up with me, but those are the big three.